Welcome to another repaint video. I've got an Indiana Jones here. This is Berg's, and he was not happy with this terrible yellow paint job on this shirt. So we reviewed this toy last night. I took it home, and I'm going to do roughly to this the same thing that I did to Constantine over here, which is a matte finish on the pants, wash to both the pants and the jacket, and I did retouch the skin of the knee that's showing through there because it was just sort of wasn't fully to the edges, so I went and retouched that as well. And I'm gonna do basically that same thing to Indy here, except I want to strip the yellow off first. I'm gonna remove these two splotches from this other Indy because this looks phenomenal except for these random blotches right there and there. Otherwise, all of the dry brushing is exactly where you would expect it to be, except for maybe right here, right there. But these two are annoying. Bit of an update where I'm at with all of this, because it has been a while. This guy, I think, is done or nearly done. I did get the two spots on the back of his jacket off. I just used nail polish remover, aka acetone. So I got the tip of the Q-tip wet, rubbed it on, kind of scraped at it with my fingernail, and it came right off. The shirt, however, was stubborn. So I got some of the paint off, and I tried both nail polish remover, and I tried, I've got 99% isopropyl alcohol, and I had minor success with that, but it just ultimately wasn't working. So I wound up priming the whole thing. You can see both inside and out. And for this, you can see, if since I haven't mentioned it already, I popped them apart. And this is the best, easiest disassembly I've ever encountered. I wish more things were like this. I hesitated to do it, but ultimately did because I wanted access to the whole shirt. I delayed because I had disassembled this is a Black Series droid, and I feared sort of this style of connection where it's got to go like in there. And I did a search for Indiana Jones Hasbro disassembly, and I couldn't find anything. So I don't know if anything has been done since then. I don't know if a video exists and it's just buried, but I couldn't find one, so I just heated it and pulled it apart, and it was honestly just the best, easiest disassembly. If these things go on clearance, I might wind up with a few of these, because oh my god, this is so easy to do. And I have a recommendation that I hesitate to even mention, but I'll get to that at some point. So this guy is in process. This one, however, Headless Indy here, I mentioned removing those two paint splotches. There was also something on one of his pant legs. I don't know if the earlier footage caught it or not. I'll check. But there was a weird bit of this dry brushing here on the pant. There was like a vertical line, and I just removed that as well with some acetone. But I sprayed the pants and the shirt and his face with some top coat to take the shine off. He's looking much better. There's a tiny bit of shine there, but he's looking significantly better. So I dirtied up the shirt. I might dry brush the shirt a bit, and I did a wash on the pants just to dirty those up. Since I have him for a few more days, I'll probably keep doing washes, just dirty him up a little bit more. And but he's close to done. This guy, I need to paint the shirt, and he has this style McFarlane shoulder insert. So that goes in there. And then the sleeved arm I've got on a clip. So I'm going to paint all of this and then dirty that up as well. And then reassemble him. And then he'll be done. Hopefully back to Berg by Wednesday when I see him again. And I will spray the pants and dirty those up too. So, progress. Wow, this desk is a mess. But I wanted to shoot some additional footage because I'm going to be seeing Berg later today, and one of these figures might be going back to him. And just in case I don't have it available for later, This is the probably finished Indy, so I can't remember what I talked about before, but I matte finished the pants. I did a wash on those as well to dirty them up a little bit. This has been removed. I know I talked about that, but I also dirtied up the shirt. I did try to pop his arms off, and it is sort of the Star Wars style. It's not the same as this. Just a ball peg. And I threw a matte finish on his face too to take down the shine, so he's looking, I think, pretty fantastic. I dry brushed a bit of a lighter tone just to bring out some of the edges on the shirt, and then I did a spot gloss. I don't know, you can sort of see one of the buttons there. I did a spot gloss on the buttons so those pop a little bit. I did check reference photos for that. So the buttons are the same color as the shirt, but they're, you know, plastic versus fabric. So I think this guy's looking phenomenal. This other guy, and you can see that thing in the background, is, we'll talk about that some other time, but already it's the most, I think, black wash that I'm ever going to apply to a figure. You can see that I masked off the holster on this one. I am going to matte finish the pants on this. You can see a bit more shine over here, so this does look more plasticky. So I haven't sprayed this yet. I'm going to go spray this now. I've done a bunch of work to the shirt, so I primed it, base coat, wash, dry brush. I will probably do a bit more since I'm still painting the rest of this stuff, but it's gonna look weird if he's got this super dirty shirt and then this ultra clean body. My original thought, the one that I mentioned earlier, was getting the hypnotized Indy, the truly shirtless Indy. I think he does look dirtier, and I think they did paint some chest hair, or attempted to, based on promotional images. I haven't seen the figure in person. My idea, which I don't think is gonna work based on the shoulders on jacketed Indy, was to get the hypnotized Indy and then swap the torso and then pop the shirt on top of that to give him like a dirtier look instead of this super clean with a dirty shirt. So I'm gonna see what I can do with this. It's probably gonna mean this guy stays with me for another week and I give the Raiders figure back to Berg. But that is the status of this. You can see this giant thing in the background, and I'm gonna get back to work on all of this. So it's only about 10 minutes later. I just got back from doing some spraying, and you might notice my hands are all dirty. I don't know how many times I can make the same mistake before I learn wear gloves, but it wasn't today. I didn't learn that lesson today, but I did spray these. And one of the things I wanted to bring up is I mentioned Berg. These are Berg's figures, and he has designed some heads for me. So this is actually a black sad in a couple of different sizes, and over here we've got the Wretch. We've settled in, I think, to an unofficial, unacknowledged exchange of services where I ask him for heads and I repaint his figures. Thankfully, he buys a bunch of cool figures that I think are deserving of additional paint attention, so it's stuff that I want to do, and he designs a ton of things. So on his store, which I do recommend that you check out, he has Transformer guns and swords and Hellboy hammers and all sorts of things in both 1/12 and 1/18 scales. And if there is something that you're interested in that isn't up there, you can make a request, and he's designed things for people in the past. But you should check out his store and maybe buy some stuff. So I still need to paint these. I keep working on his stuff instead of mine, but back to the project. It's possible I overdid this figure. So I've got a collection of paints over here, various tans and off-whites, and a couple of washes. I used all of this on the shirt, so this is layers of paint. I also used a couple of different top coats. So this one, and I've got Mod Podge, which It's supposed to be matte. In my experience, it leaves things a little bit shiny. So I used this on his chest before reassembling because I did check the movie and he is a bit sweaty and dirty, and so I wanted this a little bit shiny. I just figured that would make sense. This is the flattest stuff I have, but I'm also running out, so I used this on his face. However, if I'd thought it through, I would have... So now his face is a little bit more flat than his neck. So, oops. But I don't think it's that. I don't know. It's maybe a little noticeable. I don't know. So I used all of those paints, and this I used on the shirt. Again, because I'm running low on Mr. Hobby. So, also washes on the pants. Now, it is currently Monday. I'm seeing Berg on Wednesday. I still have time to do a bit more work on this. However, there's one last thing that I want to talk about, which is Dan sent me a video a few days ago talking about how to paint flesh tones with pastel, and that's what I did. I checked with my wife, who has a bunch of art supplies, and she had these pastels, and I used my usual dry brush to just brush some pastel. I brushed on his chest. There's a review of this figure on Shock Toy Reviews, where I say something along the lines of his chest looks like a newborn baby, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do until Dan sent me that video with the pastels, and so I kind of dry brushed some pastel to give him a bit more shade on the flesh, specifically the chest. I think his abs came out pretty well, but the trouble was getting the shirt back on. So everything was top coated, and then I heated things back up, and it is a very tight fit. I do not recommend removing his shirt, so I've done it, hopefully so you don't have to. But there was some paint rub, and I have adjusted things a bit afterward, now that he is back reassembled, to sort of correct some of the paint rub that came off in the reassembly. But this shirt is incredibly tight, and getting it across basically just under the armpits where it's the widest is very difficult. Again, not recommended. But I think I'm roughly done. I'll be done when it actually goes back to Berg, but for the moment, I mean, this is an incredibly dirty shirt. Maybe I too much? Maybe? I don't know. I'll see what happens when I give it back to Berg. For the moment, it's done, but not really, because it's still in my possession for 2 more days, and nothing's ever done until it leaves the house. But that was this project. I don't know where to put them. That was this project. Hopefully you learned something from this. Hopefully I did too. I know I learned some things. I continue repainting. Dan and I are constantly working on customs, so this is the latest, and if you want to subscribe, we will have more content in the future. Anyway, thanks for watching.